Built to Rise: Success Principles for Melanated People and People of African Descent, written by Langston E. Hughes. Chapter 5: Emotional Control in a World That Tests You. The ability to govern your response is a form of power. This world will test your emotions. It will test them at work, where you may have to stay professional while being underestimated, interrupted, watched, dismissed, or expected to carry more than your share. It will test them in family, where old wounds can speak through familiar voices. It will test them in business, where delayed payments, unclear agreements, disrespectful customers, and uncertain money can pull fear to the surface. It will test them online, where strangers can provoke reactions from behind screens and turn outrage into entertainment. It will test them in traffic, in classrooms, in relationships, in grief, in success, and in the quiet moments when you are alone with memories you have not fully processed. For melanated people and people of African descent, emotional control cannot mean pretending. It cannot mean swallowing every insult. It cannot mean becoming quiet for the comfort of people who benefit from your silence. It cannot mean denying pain, hiding anger, or smiling through harm. Emotional control means you choose the response that best protects your dignity, your purpose, your health, and your future. Sometimes that response is a calm conversation. Sometimes it is documentation. Sometimes it is leaving the room. Sometimes it is legal action. Sometimes it is prayer before speaking. Sometimes it is silence because the person is not worthy of your explanation. Sometimes it is confrontation with witnesses and structure. Sometimes it is rest. Sometimes it is therapy. Sometimes it is organizing people to address a pattern that no individual should have to carry alone. Emotional control is not passivity. It is command. The cost of being easily provoked: if someone can control your emotions, they can often influence your decisions. This is a hard truth. Many people lose opportunities, money, relationships, credibility, freedom, and peace because they respond from the first feeling instead of the highest wisdom available to them. Anger may be justified and still be poorly timed. Pain may be real and still need a wise container. Disrespect may deserve an answer and still not deserve immediate access to your nervous system. Fear may be understandable and still not be qualified to lead. The question is not, do I have a right to feel this? Often, yes, you do. The better question is, what response serves my purpose? That question can save you. It can save you from sending the message that destroys a partnership. It can save you from quitting a job without a plan when the wiser move is to document, prepare, and exit strategically. It can save you from humiliating a child when what they need is correction with steadiness. It can save you from spending money to soothe embarrassment. It can save you from turning a disagreement into a public performance. It can save you from feeding people who only came to provoke you. A person who is easily provoked is easy to move off assignment. This does not mean becoming cold. Emotional control is not emotional death. A whole person can feel deeply and still respond wisely. In fact, deep feeling often needs deeper discipline because the power inside the feeling is strong. Your emotions are messengers. They are not always managers. Stress lives in the body. Emotional control begins with understanding that stress is not only an idea. It lives in the body. The CDC notes that stress can show up as fear, anger, sadness, worry, numbness, frustration, changes in appetite or energy, trouble concentrating, trouble making decisions, sleep problems, headaches, body pain, stomach issues, and worsening health conditions. This matters because many people try to solve emotional patterns with shame instead of awareness. If you are exhausted, hungry, grieving, dehydrated, overstimulated, isolated, sleep-deprived, financially pressured, and carrying unspoken pain, your emotional reactions will often be louder. The issue may not be that you are a bad person. The issue may be that your system is overloaded. This is why emotional control is connected to health. Sleep affects patience. Food affects mood. Movement affects stress. Breathing affects the nervous system. Community affects resilience. Prayer and meditation affect steadiness. Therapy and wise counsel affect clarity. Money pressure affects conflict. Digital noise affects irritability. You cannot keep demanding calm from a body you keep abandoning. For people of African descent, this is especially important because many of us were taught to keep going no matter what. Strength became endurance. Endurance became identity. Identity became overwork. Overwork became exhaustion. Exhaustion became irritability. Irritability became conflict. Conflict became shame. Then shame made people work harder to prove they were strong. That cycle must be interrupted. Sometimes the most strategic thing you can do for your emotions is sleep. Sometimes it is eating food that supports the body. Sometimes it is taking a walk before answering. Sometimes it is calling someone who can help you think. Sometimes it is turning off the device. Sometimes it is scheduling the appointment you have been avoiding. The body is not separate from success. It is the vessel that must carry the assignment. Anger as information. Anger is not automatically wrong. Anger can reveal that a boundary has been crossed. It can reveal that something unjust has happened. It can reveal that a need has been ignored too long. It can reveal grief wearing armor. It can reveal exhaustion that has not been respected. It can reveal a pattern that must be confronted. The problem is not anger. The problem is ungoverned anger. Ungoverned anger may tell too much to the wrong people. Ungoverned anger may make permanent decisions from temporary heat. Ungoverned anger may turn allies into enemies. Ungoverned anger may damage children who needed guidance. Ungoverned anger may create evidence against you in a workplace or legal situation. Ungoverned anger may make you feel powerful for 5 minutes and cost you 5 years. Governed anger is different. Governed anger asks what boundary was crossed. What value is being violated? What is the most effective response? Who needs to be present? What needs to be documented? What outcome am I seeking? What would make this worse? What would make this useful? That last question matters. Anger becomes power when it becomes useful. It can fuel organizing, writing, policy, protection, training, negotiation, art, business, education, legal action, healing, and courage. But anger without direction often becomes fire in your own house. Do not be ashamed of anger. Train it. The pause is not weakness. Many people fear the pause because they believe immediate reaction proves strength. But sometimes immediate reaction proves only that the trigger found the button. The pause is not weakness. The pause is where you recover choice. Between the insult and the answer, pause. Between the email and the reply, pause. Between the accusation and the defense, pause. Between the fear and the purchase, pause. Between the desire and the decision, pause. Between the family trigger and the old pattern, pause. The pause does not have to be long. It may be one breath. It may be 30 seconds. It may be, I need to think before I respond. It may be, I will come back to this tomorrow. It may be stepping outside. It may be writing the message and not sending it. It may be praying before speaking. It may be drinking water, walking around the block, or asking a clarifying question. The pause gives your purpose time to enter the room. Practice this sentence, I am not ready to respond yet. This sentence can protect you from many unnecessary battles. Some people will pressure you to respond immediately because they benefit when you react before thinking. They may say you are avoiding. They may accuse you of being weak. They may try to provoke you harder. Stay steady. A mature pause does not need applause. You are not obligated to answer while your nervous system is on fire. Real-world example. Nelson Mandela's life offers a profound example of emotional command under historic pressure. The Nelson Mandela Foundation records that he was sentenced to life imprisonment in 1964, released in 1990, and inaugurated in 1994 as South Africa's first democratically elected president. The same foundation notes that he remained devoted to democracy, equality, and learning, and that despite terrible provocation, he did not answer racism with racism. This does not mean Mandela had no anger. It would be shallow to imagine that a man could endure imprisonment, separation from family, political violence, and injustice without deep feeling. The lesson is not that he lacked emotion. The lesson is that he disciplined emotion in service of a larger purpose. After his release, he could have used his pain to inflame a country already standing near the edge of wider conflict. Instead, he practiced a strategic emotional discipline that helped move South Africa toward negotiation, democratic transition, and reconciliation, even while criticism came from multiple directions. This kind of control is not softness. It is strength under command. Many people admire Mandela's forgiveness without studying the discipline beneath it. Forgiveness at that scale was not sentimental. It was political, spiritual, practical, and strategic. It required the ability to feel history without being possessed by revenge. Your life may not carry Mandela's public burden, but the principle still applies. Can you feel disappointment without becoming destructive? Can you feel anger without abandoning strategy? Can you feel grief without giving up purpose? Can you feel pressure without mistreating the people closest to you? Can you feel insult without letting the insulter decide your next move? Emotional control does not ask you to feel less. It asks you to become responsible for where the feeling goes. The 24-hour rule. One practical tool for emotional control is the 24-hour rule. When a decision is emotionally charged, give it time before acting unless safety or urgent responsibility requires immediate action. Do not quit in a storm. Do not send the message in a storm. Do not post in a storm. Do not make major purchases in a storm. Do not end important relationships in a storm unless there is danger. Do not sign agreements in a storm. Do not make promises in a storm. Storms distort vision. The 24-hour rule allows emotion to settle enough for wisdom to speak. During the 24 hours, do not simply stew. Use the time. Write what happened. Name what you felt. Identify what boundary or value was involved. Talk to a wise person who will not simply feed your ego. Pray or sit in silence. Review your purpose. Consider consequences. Draft possible responses. Choose the one that protects the future. Some moments require immediate action, especially when safety is involved. But many moments that feel urgent are only emotionally loud. Learn the difference. Workplace emotional strategy. Workplaces can test emotional control in specific ways. A person of African descent may face being underestimated, excluded, over-monitored, asked to represent an entire group, expected to educate others for free, judged more harshly for tone, punished for directness, or treated as intimidating when simply being clear. These experiences can create exhaustion and anger. The answer is not to become silent. The answer is to become strategic. In the workplace, emotional control includes documentation. Write down dates, times, statements, decisions, assignments, witnesses, and outcomes. Keep records of praise, performance, completed projects, changed expectations, and concerning patterns. When possible, move unclear verbal instructions into written follow-up. Use language that is calm and specific. I want to clarify the expectation. My understanding from today's meeting is, please confirm whether the deadline has changed. I would like feedback tied to measurable performance standards. I am documenting this conversation so we have a shared record. I am available to discuss solutions. Calm language is not submission. It is evidence building. Emotional control also includes choosing your exits wisely. Sometimes the best strategy is to grow where you are. Sometimes the best strategy is to transfer departments. Sometimes it is to build skills and leave. Sometimes it is to file a complaint. Sometimes it is to seek legal advice. Sometimes it is to start your own enterprise because your gifts have outgrown the room. Do not let one disrespectful environment make you doubt your value. Also, do not let anger push you out before you have gathered your resources. Strategy asks, what move gives me the most power with the least unnecessary damage? That is emotional control in professional form. Family triggers. Family can trigger emotions faster than almost anything because family often knows where the earliest wounds live. A parent can say one sentence and make a grown person feel 12 again. A sibling can carry old rivalry into new seasons. A spouse can touch fear that began long before the relationship. A child can awaken anger that really belongs to unresolved stress. An elder can make a request that activates guilt. A holiday gathering can reopen roles everyone thought they had outgrown. Emotional control in family does not mean tolerating disrespect. It means refusing to become the old version of yourself just because the old environment is present. Before entering a family situation, prepare. What topics usually trigger me? What role do people expect me to play? What boundary do I need to hold? What sentence can I use if the conversation becomes unhealthy? How long do I plan to stay? Who can I call afterward to process? Possible boundary sentences. I am not discussing that today. I hear you, but I am not available for disrespect. We can continue when the tone changes. That is not a decision I am making out of guilt. I love you and my answer is still no. I am going to step away before this becomes harmful. Healthy family love requires boundaries. Without boundaries, love often becomes control, guilt, rescuing, or emotional dumping. People may resist your boundaries at first, especially if your old role benefited them. Stay steady. You do not need to convince everyone that your boundary is valid. You need to practice it consistently. Social media and manufactured outrage. Social media is built to capture attention, and emotion is one of the easiest ways to capture it. Outrage spreads fast. Humiliation spreads fast. Fear spreads fast. Comparison spreads fast. Conflict spreads fast. Platforms often reward emotional reaction more than wisdom. A thoughtful response may receive little attention, while a reckless post travels widely. This can train people to confuse visibility with impact. For melanated people and people of African descent, the online world can be especially draining. Videos of harm, public disrespect, cultural arguments, political manipulation, celebrity conflict, and community pain can enter the mind before breakfast. People can spend hours consuming distress without taking one constructive action. Ask, is this informing me or inflaming me? Is this calling me to useful action or trapping me in helpless anger? Am I sharing this because it helps or because I am emotionally activated? Who profits from my attention right now? What would I be building if I were not scrolling? Digital emotional control is a success skill. Set boundaries. Do not begin the day with conflict. Do not argue with strangers who are committed to misunderstanding. Do not consume traumatic content without limits. Do not mistake posting for organizing. Do not let comparison make you despise your season. Do not bring every online conflict into your household. Use social media as a tool, not a nervous system. Real-world example. Mary McLeod Bethune. Mary McLeod Bethune's life offers another model of emotional control joined to institution building. The National Park Service records that she founded what became Bethune-Cookman College, organized women nationally, advised government leaders, fought for educational access, and remained active across decades of discrimination and threat. One powerful detail is that in 1920, after the 19th Amendment, she organized a voter registration drive in Florida despite threats from the Ku Klux Klan. That kind of leadership required courage. but it also required emotional discipline. Terror was designed to provoke retreat. Humiliation was designed to create silence. Exclusion was designed to shrink ambition. Bethune did not respond by merely expressing outrage. She built schools, she organized women, she entered policy spaces, she developed relationships, she raised money, she created institutions. She turned pressure into structured action. That is the lesson. People who want to stop your purpose often try to control your emotional climate. They want you afraid, scattered, ashamed, reactive, or exhausted. When you build anyway, you refuse their design. Bethune's example asks modern readers, what are you building with your frustration? What institution could your anger help create? What young people need your steadiness? What relationship or room requires you to be strategic rather than explosive? What would happen if you organized your emotional energy into a school, fund, business, council, training program, family meeting, legal strategy, or community resource? Emotion becomes legacy when it is organized. Grief and emotional control. Grief deserves its own tenderness. Emotional control does not mean controlling grief into silence. Grief is love responding to loss. It may come through tears, numbness, anger, fatigue, memory, confusion, laughter, dreams, prayer, or silence. It may appear years after the funeral. It may rise during success because someone is not there to see it. It may show up in the body before the mind understands. Do not punish yourself for grief, but do not let grief make every decision either. Grief can cause overspending, withdrawal, substance misuse, unhealthy relationships, neglect of responsibilities, spiritual confusion, or anger toward people who are trying to help. When grief is heavy, support is not optional. You may need family, friends, counseling, faith community, rest, movement, ritual, journaling, and time. People of African descent have often had to grieve publicly and privately at the same time. Personal losses happen inside larger community losses. Some families carry grief from violence, sickness, incarceration, estrangement, migration, addiction, poverty, and historical trauma. This layered grief can become normalized until people stop naming it. Name it. Give grief a place to speak. Light the candle, say the name, tell the story, visit the resting place. Write the letter, go to counseling, hold the family gathering, create the scholarship, plant the tree, cook the meal, make the art. Do the work they would have wanted you to finish. Grief can become a teacher when it is honored. It becomes dangerous when it is denied and forced to speak through destruction. Pride, shame, and correction. Emotional control also shows up in how you receive correction. Some people cannot be corrected because correction feels like humiliation. They hear feedback and immediately defend, attack, explain, withdraw, or blame. This often comes from shame. If a person already feels uncertain about their worth, correction can feel like proof that they are not enough. But correction is not always rejection. Sometimes correction is protection. Sometimes it is training. Sometimes it is love with standards. Sometimes it is the information that keeps your business alive, your relationship healthy, your leadership credible, or your craft improving. Ask, is this correction accurate? Is the person qualified to speak on this? Is the delivery poor but the content useful? What can I learn without surrendering my dignity? Do I need to apologize, adjust, clarify, or ignore? Not all criticism is useful. Some people criticize from envy, ignorance, control, or cruelty. Emotional control means you do not accept every voice as authority, but it also means you do not reject every voice because your pride is uncomfortable. A teachable person becomes difficult to defeat. Strategic confrontation. There are times when confrontation is necessary. Peace without truth is not peace. It is delay. Strategic confrontation is different from emotional explosion. It has purpose, timing, evidence, boundaries, and a desired outcome. Before confronting, ask what exactly happened. What do I want to change? What evidence do I have? What is the best setting for this conversation? Who needs to be present? What boundary will I set? What consequence will follow if the pattern continues? What tone serves the outcome? A strategic confrontation might sound like, when this happened, it created this impact. I need this to change going forward. If it happens again, I will take this next step. That is clear. It does not require shouting. It does not require insults. It does not require proving your pain through volume. Volume is not the same as power. Power is clarity plus consequence. The emotional budget, just as money needs a budget, emotional energy needs a budget. You cannot give full emotional access to every person, issue, request, and conflict. You have limited energy. If you spend it all reacting to minor provocations, little remains for the people and purposes that truly matter. Create categories: full access, the people and responsibilities that deserve your deepest presence. Measured access, people you care about but must engage with boundaries. Limited access, situations that require professionalism but not emotional investment. No access, people, platforms, habits, and conflicts that repeatedly drain you without producing growth, duty, love, or useful action. This is not cold. It is stewardship. Every emotional withdrawal should be examined. Is it love, duty, purpose, fear, ego, guilt, or habit? Every emotional deposit should be intentional. Does this build peace, wisdom, health, family, money, skill, faith, or community? People who do not budget emotional energy often become generous in the wrong places and unavailable in the right ones. Do not spend your best self on people committed to your worst reactions. The calm power practice here is a daily practice for emotional command. Check the body. Ask, am I hungry, tired, tense, overstimulated, grieving, or anxious? What does my body need before I make decisions? Name the emotion. Say, I feel anger, or I feel fear, or I feel shame, instead of I am angry, I am afraid, or I am ashamed. This small language shift reminds you that you are experiencing an emotion, not becoming it. Find the message. Ask, what is this emotion trying to tell me? Is there a boundary, need, loss, threat, desire, or memory involved? Choose the response. Ask, what action protects my purpose and dignity? Release the excess. Move, breathe, pray, journal, talk, stretch, cry, rest, or create. Emotions need movement. Do not let them rot inside the body. This practice can be done in minutes. The more you practice when the stakes are low, the more available it becomes when the stakes are high. This week's work, this chapter, becomes real when you practice the pause before life demands it. Set aside 1 hour this week and complete the following. Identify 3 situations that most often trigger emotional reactions. For each trigger, write the old reaction and the strategic response you will practice. Create a 24-hour rule for emotionally charged messages, purchases, posts, and decisions. Choose one workplace, family, or business situation that needs documentation or clearer communication. Build one body-based calming practice: walking, breathing, stretching, sleep routine, hydration, or reduce digital noise. Write a boundary sentence you can use without over-explaining. Have one honest conversation or write one unsent letter about an emotion you have been carrying. Do not judge success by never being triggered. Judge it by how quickly you recover choice. Declaration: I honor my emotions without surrendering leadership to them. My anger will become useful. My grief will be honored. My fear will be examined. My joy will be protected. I will not let disrespect, pressure, family patterns, workplace tension, or digital noise move me off assignment. I choose the pause. I choose strategy. I choose boundaries. I choose health. I choose responses that protect my dignity, purpose, family, future, and community. Closing thought: the 5th law of melanated success is this: govern the response before the response governs you. The world may test you. People may provoke you. Systems may pressure you. Family may trigger you, grief may visit you, anger may rise in you, but you are not powerless inside the feeling. You can pause, you can breathe, you can document, you can seek counsel, you can tell the truth, you can set boundaries, you can act with force and wisdom together. Emotional control is not the absence of fire. It is learning where to place the fire so it gives light, heat, protection, and power without burning down what you were born to build.